All the time there were many sounds to be heard in the forge. Forge means workshop. The big bellows groaned and the burning coal cracked. And in that Ranzo iron works, there were different kind of sounds. First is big bellows. Big bellows means an instrument which is used to blow air, and after that we heard coal cracked sound. Whenever it will be heated, there was a cracking sound of coal. The fire boy shoveled charcoal into the maw of the furnace, and the fire boy, who is assistant for blacksmith, he was shoveled. Shoveled means throwing charcoal. He was throwing charcoal into the maw of the furnace. Maw means nothing but a mouth. Maw of the furnace means mouth of the furnace. That means he was throwing lot of charcoal in that to increase the heat with a great deal of clatter. Outside roared the waterfall, and the sharp wind whipped the rain against the brick tiled roof. And outside of this ironworks there were waterfall sound, and there was a sharp wind sound which is pushing north side towards the brick tiled roof. It was probably on account of all this noise that the blacksmith did not notice that a man had opened the gate and entered the forge until he stood close up to the furnace. Due to all these sounds, blacksmith did not identify the person. That means a peddler. Peddler means a person who sells rattrap. He entered into the forge, but he did not notice him due to all these sounds. And this peddler, that means this vagabond, slowly he came to the furnace, near to the furnace. Surely it was nothing unusual for poor vagabonds without any better shelter for the night to be attracted to the forge by the glow of light which escaped through the sooty panes, and to come in a warm themselves. Sooty panes means dust of the charcoal. Most of the people, those who are going here and there, will be entered into the forge to get or to warm themselves. So that he also did not care, our vagabond. And he stood in front of the fire. The blacksmiths glanced only casually and indifferently at the intruder. Intruder means a person who enters into other houses or something without anyone's permission. The blacksmith glanced. He looked at him, but he did not care him. He looked the way people his type usually did, with a long beard, dirty, ragged, and with a bunch of rat traps dangling on his chest. Dangling means hanging on his chest. How his attire was? His attire was, he has a long beard, dirty, ragged, and with a bunch of rat traps, and he was in rags. Rags means his total clothes were torn. He was looking like a beggar. He entered there, but blacksmith glanced him, but he did not ask anything to him. He asked permission to stay, and the master blacksmith nodded a hearty consent. Hearty means to, in a proud manner. Haughty means in a proud manner. Haughty consent without honoring him with a single word. He did not speak. Whenever our vagabond, our rat trap seller, he asked to stay in that forge for this night, but he did not. But he has given hearty consent, means a proud manner. He has, okay, he agreed to stay there. The tramp did not say anything either. He had not come there to talk, but only to warm himself and sleep. Tramp, here tramp is peddler, rat trap peddler. So he did not say anything because he came here to warm himself from the furnace. In those days, the Ranzo iron mill was owned by a very prominent iron master whose greatest ambition was to ship out good iron to the market. He watched both night and day to see that the work was done as well as possible. And at this very moment, he came into the forge on one of the nightly rounds of inspection. Now this Ranzo iron master, that means the owner of this master was prominent. He was really a good, and he always thinks that he has to give a good, and he wants it to give a standard material and he wanted to release a standard material to the market. So that's why he always comes for inspection either in the morning time or in the night time. But on that day also the ironmaster came for inspection. Naturally, the first thing he saw was the tall ragamuffin. Tall ragamuffin, that means a person who was in dirty clothes. Whenever he entered, he observed ragamuffin. Ragamuffin is nothing but here this peddler, Rattrap seller, who had eased his way so close to the furnace that steam rose from his wet rags. The ironmaster did not follow the example of the blacksmiths, who had hardly deigned. Deign means observed very closely. Deigned to look at the stranger. He walked close up to him, looked him over carefully, then tore off his slouch hat to get a better view of his face. Slouch hat means round hat. Peddler has round hat, and he did not follow the example of blacksmith, but he went near to him and he removed his slouch hat and he observed very closely. But of course, it's you, Nils, Olo, he said, how you do look. And he said immediately, the owner said immediately, oh my dear Nils, Olo, why you are looking like this? The man with the rat traps had never before seen the ironmaster at Ramso and did not even know that his name was. But it occurred to him that if the fine gentleman thought he was an old acquaintance, acquaintance means a good friend or something familiar, he might perhaps throw him a couple of kroner. Therefore, he did not want to undeceive him all at once. Undeceive means open or reveal. Whenever he called, actually Rattrap don't know about this owner. But again Rattrap thought that if I act like his friend, maybe he will give some kronas for him. So that's what he did not say anything and he behaved like his friend. Yes, God knows things have gone downhill with me. Downhill means something bad. This Rattrap said, yes, things have gone downhill. Some bad things happened to me. That's why I am like this. You should not have resigned from the regiment. Regiment means army. Said the ironmaster, that was the mistake. If only I had still been in the service at that time, it never would have happened. Well, now of course you will come home with me. He said that in those days, unnecessarily you resigned from the regiment. Who said these words? The owner of the ironmaster. And he thought that Rattrap was his colleague in the army. If I were there at that time, I did not allow you to resign. Anyhow, you come to my house. To go along up to the manor house. Manor house means owner's house. And be received by the owner like an old regimental comrade. Comrade is friend. Old regimental comrade. That, however, did not please the tramp. Now, he did not want to go there. Because if he go there, he knows that he will be caught by some other people. Because he has stolen 30 kronas from a person. From an old person.